Hello, gentle marketers. Welcome to episode 55 of the Gentle Business Revolution podcast, a show where we talk about marketing your business by disrupting the current marketing paradigm and changing it to a gentler approach, one that's based on empathy and kindness. I'm Sarah Croce, I'm the host here, and you know that you're in the right place if you are a heart-centered entrepreneur or change maker who is looking for a better way to market your business. Or you might also be a marketing impact pioneer, so someone who's working in marketing or any other position for an organization who does business for good. So today's episode falls under the P of pricing of the Gentle Marketing Mandala. And if you're new here, you don't know what I'm talking about, the Gentle Marketing Mandala is basically a revamp of the traditional 7 Ps of marketing. And you will really get it when you download my one-page marketing plan at sarahsandcroce.com/one page, the number 1 page. Real quick also, before we begin, a gentle plug for the next Gentle Business Circle that is coming up on October 7th. If you've been listening for a while and love what you're hear, you might also consider joining the Gentle Business Circle. It's a safe zone to hang out with other gentle marketers and really help each other build our businesses and grow our impact. When you join the circle, you get one live monthly circle Q&A call with me and fellow gentle marketers. And yes, they're recorded and you can send in questions in advance if you can't make it. The replays will be posted. We have a private kind of customer hub where you can also find links to resources and other things that we mentioned on the call. As a bonus, you get access to my authentic and fair pricing mini course. That's a value of $97, and it kind of goes through the fair pricing model that I often talk about here on the podcast as well. These calls take place once per month, every second Wednesday of the month. And as I said, the next one is coming up on Wednesday, October 7th. There are different levels of support. It's all based on a pay what feels good model, and it starts out at $7 per month. What you're really doing also, besides the community, you're helping me kind of finance this podcast. So again, find out more at sarahsandcroce.com/circle. We'd love to have you. So back to pricing. I talk about fair pricing quite a bit. So pricing that is fair to everyone involved, meaning ourselves, the client, and the planet. Because if you're here, I'm pretty sure you are aligned with my worldview, and that means we're all trying to contribute to making this world a better place. If you haven't heard episode 13 and 39 yet, they might be worth listening to as well. They both talk about this concept of fair pricing. 13 is more of an introduction, while 39 goes into specifics where I discuss how to have a fair pricing conversation. So again, episode 13 and 39, so sarahsandcroce.com/GBR13 and GBR39. But in today's episode, I want to talk about some pricing strategies from a marketing point of view. So pricing is obviously a huge subject for anyone in business, and I'm not claiming to be a pricing expert. So numbers are actually not so much my expertise, or I just don't feel so comfortable with numbers. So I'm going to be looking at it more from the right brain approach, so more of the emotional feeling approach. If you want the very analytical left brain approach to pricing, I highly recommend reading the book Confessions of the Pricing Man by Herman Simon. I actually don't know which one is his first or which one is his last name. So Google it and you'll find it on Amazon. Again, what I'm offering you is a bit of a reframe of some of the things that were being sold as pricing truths based on psychology and brain research. So most of the marketing programs kind of go into pricing a little bit, and they say, this is how you do it because this is all based on psychology and brain research. So I'm giving you my personal opinion about some of these strategies, and maybe a possible reframe that kind of feels more genuine and more gentle. So here we go. And you might recognize some of these strategies and others not so much. So the first one is the famous 3 tiers. So you see this on countless websites where we have 3 different price ranges with a slightly different variation of the product. So there's the higher price, the middle price, and the lower price. And it's true that the human mind is looking for a reference point on which to base his decision on. That's what the 3 tiers do. So kind of giving the buyer an idea of the price range from the lowest to the highest price. And research has also shown that buyers usually gravitate towards a price in the middle of the range. So by selecting a product from the middle of that price range, buyers, they reduce their risk that they buy something of poor quality and the risk that they overspend. So they feel safe in the middle, right? So knowing that this strategy is like based on human psychology, I see nothing wrong with using it in our businesses. People like different options, and I think it's fair to offer different prices for different budgets and needs. That's also what I talk about in this episode 39, where I'm talking about having a fair pricing conversation, where basically a client told me, look, I don't have the budget for this, can we talk about it? So having options is good as a gentle marketer. The problem, I think, lies in knowing what we know about the human mind and then trying to trick buyers. Many internet marketing offers kind of exaggerate the value of the middle tier by adding a ton of fluff to that offer. Like, they put in tons of not useless, but, like too much content, like ebooks and, you get access to this and that and this and that. In the end, it's kind of overwhelming. So I guess when creating the 3 tiers, it really is essential to go back to this primal question, which is, do I offer true value to my client? Or on the other hand, am I using what I know from human psychology and am I just kind of trying to trick the buyer into buying the middle range and stuffing it with lots of, stuffings that are not really that valuable, but that look valuable. And so therefore we're tricking the buyer into buying this one. So that's kind of what I'm giving you for this 3 tiers. So just go back to the question, do I offer true value to my client? And is that why I think this is the best offer for them? And then still giving him the 2 other options, which is the lower price and the higher price. So that's one of the strategies. The other one, this one is probably familiar, you're probably familiar with, is the pricing in 7s or 9s. So pretty sure that you've seen this everywhere. Actually, a few years ago, we used to always price our offers in 9s. So 99, 79, 199. And now we're changed that approach and now it's all about 7s. So 77, 97, 197. And it's kind of almost like, predictable. That that's going to be the price. You never see 198. Or very rarely do you see 198. So here's kind of why we do this, right? It all started with J.C. Penney in a study that was done in the early 1900s. The retailer determined that when someone saw a price that ended in 7 or 9, they felt like they were getting a good deal, which then increased urgency and led to more sales. So over the years, it became common knowledge that if you wanted to be perceived as a luxury good, you ended your prices in 0. And if you were more of a discount good or wanted to be perceived as a deal, you ended your prices in 7 or 9. So in other words, exact pricing really depends on who you want to attract to buy from you. And that could be different for each of your offers. So if you have the 3 tiers, The bottom and middle tier could end in 7 or 9, but the top tier, so the most expensive, or kind of like the ones that the offer that you want to attract a bit of a more luxury client, that one could end in 0. So it could be 79, 179, and then 500, for example, right? So exact pricing also depends on whether you're selling to many people who are more likely to be attracted to the bottom and middle tier prices, or a kind of a more exclusive clientele who are more attracted to a more expensive boutique type business. So as you can see, all these pricing strategies really also depend on knowing our people, knowing our ideal clients, and know, where they're situated. And then maybe also realizing, well, it's not just one type of client that I want to work with. Maybe I have the more luxury client, but I also have an offer for the client with a smaller budget. So again, having options is really good. In terms of retention then, so meaning, sustainability and keeping the clients over a long time, research shows that customers who converted with a zero-based price, so the $500, for example, dollar offer, they have approximately 10% better retention than those who converted at a 9-based or 7-based price. So this is most likely because people who buy thinking that they're getting a deal tend to not be the most loyal customers. So again, what are you supposed to do with that? Well, it's all about knowing your client, getting into your ideal client's head and figuring out if she is a deal hunter or a quality seeker, and whether maybe you have one offer that is more for the deal hunter and another offer that is more for the quality kind of long-term kind of client. So that's kind of these pricing reflections, and I'm hoping that's helping you kind of think about your prices and maybe make some adjustments and maybe not. Maybe you have just intuitively been using those strategies. The next one I want to talk about is discounts. So discounts, and man, have I been playing with that for a long time. And not so much in recent years, but in the early years, I just thought, if you give discounts, maybe you'll make more sales. And that's definitely true. Again, similar to the 7 or 9 pricing strategies, discounts attract more people. It's like this immediate kind of turnaround. So giving discounts can bring in new clients and sales in the short term, but it's not the best strategy for long-term relationships. Because what you're essentially doing, and what happened to my list, is that you train your subscribers or your people to only buy from you when you put out a discount or when there's a special sale. Again, nothing wrong with that. That's kind of human. I also look for, the best deal, and I buy when something is on sale. But if you're training all of your people to only buy when you put out a sale, I think that could turn into a hustling kind of mindset, because then you feel like you always have to hustle, meaning you always need new clients, because again, they're not necessarily the long-term clients. So they come, they buy, and then they're gone again. And so that could turn you into a hustler, and it could also lead to kind of frustration and burnout, because you feel like undervalued, because you feel like all my clients only buy if I put things on sale. So you don't really feel valued. So they're quite tricky. The other thing is the high ticket items. So the psychology behind this strategy is like the one with the 3 tiers. You give your client a point of reference to value your work by adding a high ticket item to your offering, even if you never expect anyone to buy it. So a lot of coaches or online businesses use this idea of a one-day VIP strategy session or some kind of retreat. And in there, the price is, obviously much higher than their products and maybe even their one-on-one coaching. But it kind of sets the tone in a way, and it lets people understand that, that's the worth, or that's the value of one day of work with me, and one day of strategizing. And I think there's nothing wrong with that, again, as long as you can truly provide the value. Like, it's an option that's there for a client who can afford it, but it doesn't mean that you need only those kind of clients, and you don't need to hustle to only get those kind of clients. So again, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, unless, of course, we're putting like ridiculous prices for that one day strategy session. And then again, I would bring you back to the question, well, can you really put in that much value for that price? Finally, another one is upsells and downsells. So that's another one we often see on the internet. So kind of in these funnels. I can do a whole episode about funnels once, but the idea or the psychology behind an upsell is that when a client buys a product or a service, she's already in spending mode. So why not present her a more expensive offer? And a downsell is a reversal of the upsell. So if your client doesn't want that more expensive product, you suggest a cheaper alternative. And again, with most of these strategies, the success of upsells and downsells really depends on how they're presented. It doesn't matter so much whether you're using the strategy. It really depends on how you are presenting them and whether you actually deliver value. So unfortunately, many examples we see on the internet are not really designed with that intention. The intention is purely to make more sales, right? And so you would see these things that are being sold just to get another sale. And then when you actually get the thing that they sold you, you're like, well, that's really not as valuable as, the money I paid for it. So personally, I actually get really annoyed when I'm trying to buy a certain product and they make me jump through an entire funnel of upsells and downsells I don't want. I came here to, for example, book a flight. And so every time they ask me if I need an insurance, and if I say, no, I have an insurance, then they're like, well, do you need a car or do you need a hotel? And I'm like, no, I just want the flight. But here it's not even that's actually still an example that it's not that annoying, because at least there are things that some people might need. But there's other examples where kind of these guru marketers, they just try to sell you anything that is not even related or barely related. And just because they know this human psychology that we're already in the spending mode, so why not add another thing to my shopping cart? So that's what I kind of dislike about these upsells and downsells. So yeah, with all of these pricing strategies, and there's more, but I keep them for another episode, it always comes back to knowing your client and kind of feeling into them, her, him, to realize, well, what's their budget? Am I really presenting different offers for each budget? What, feels good to me? Am I providing value for those offers? And then kind of going with your gut feeling. So I hope you enjoyed this episode about the pricing myths, and check out the show notes at sarahzenacroce.com/GBR55 with all the links to the pricing book and some other pricing. My mini course on authentic and fair pricing is in there as well. And again, if you are feeling called to hang out with other gentle marketers to get support, practical business building, as well as emotional support, please check out sarahsenecroce.com/circle and see whether you feel like joining us. Next week, I'll talk to a storytelling expert, and that's going to be a good episode. So make sure to tune back next week. I hope you'll join me on this journey to a kinder marketing paradigm. Let's be the change we want to see in the world. Talk to you soon.